Hi, good evening, everybody. My topic is Bermuda Beach Art Festival. And this is an image my husband brought home one day in a newspaper. I was smitten. It's so beautiful. It's the drawings coming out of the cave almost. So I read all about it. And it was an image from the first World Beach Art Competition in Jersey, and the only one ever. That occurred. Beach art is a form of art that only lasts till the tide takes it away. It's all natural, and there's no dye, there's no natural material, and it's done with a rake instead of a paintbrush, and the canvas is a beach, and it's usually between high tide and low tide. This is the first piece of, one of the first pieces of beach arts I did on Coral Beach. And it was done with a big rake I bought, an aluminium one, because it wouldn't rust. But then I've learned really a smaller rake is better, but I bought this huge big thing. That's an image there. And I decided after doing a lot of beach art, I said, oh, this is fascinating, let's other people do it. As I did with the Sans Culture competition many years ago, I spearheaded that, and I've directed that nearly 20 years. So I thought, let's develop a Bermuda beach art competition. So with the first year, I got the Alliance Française to do it because the winner of that world champion was a Frenchman. And I've got a French connection. So I brought him down with the Alliance Française with a culture exchange, brought him down, and the first Bermuda beach art competition occurred. That's a piece I did, and Mike Davies, the kite man, took a picture of it. This was our first beach artist, Sam Dugadou, who came down, a guest beach artist, and he created this wonderful piece here. A funny story is the Parks Department called me one day and said, Nicky, I hear that you are painting the beach and putting dye down there. I said, no. It's just when you scratch the surface of the beach or the sand, the moisture comes up, and that makes it look dark. It's not paint. People thought it was paint. This is just showing you the different techniques and the different ways of doing beach art. You can use a thick rake, or you just use a fine broom end. And as you can see, the tide is going to wash it away. But it has a certain peacefulness to it, or a certain eternal beauty, I think. This is negative. Instead of raking what you want to see, you rake the background, and it's a Matisse. And it was, tourists came down the first year, they emailed me a month before asking me to give them a rake. They knew that this competition was going to come, and this is what they did, and I thought it was marvelous. These are some other examples of beach art. The top right-hand corner was Andres Amador, and a drone took that picture. The left-hand corner, I incorporated beach art and dance. Emotion School of Dance did a production with me, and I produced a film on YouTube. And the other one was stenciling. Now, beach, I just thought you could just do dark and light, but you can actually do shading. So it's almost like a picture. And it's a trompe l'oeil as well. So it's just a fascinating piece of art where people have juxtaposed themselves in the perspective, makes it look so real. This is one of my favorite pieces, and it was created for this beach art festival. They were the winner of the adult categories. We've got a few categories, and it took place in March. That's when it always takes place, in March, on Earth Day. So it's going to be the 28th of March next year. So hopefully you can participate. This was our first ever winner of the Beach Art Festival competition, Jade Robertson, and that's what she did up there with a little tree frog and a pattern on the beach. And this was also, I just want to say is Lynn Matcham now is on board with me, and she helps and does all the marketing for it. So on the day of beach art, we have yoga, free yoga on 3 beaches. We invite kite surfers and stand-up paddleboards. So it's sort of like it's celebrating the beach through beach art. And this is a poignant image of, two heartbeats walking along the beach. So I thought it was quite beautiful to show. So hopefully next year we have this here is the second year and the third year. I couldn't get Alliance Française to sponsor it, so we wrote and asked FIL, they kindly sponsor it. So we would like to give our sponsors something, so we give them a bit of beach art. And the next image will show the exact same place, Baby Beach, with another piece of beach art. We also, I forgot to mention, have workshops every year when we have the festival. A week before we have a workshop. And this was part of our workshop. It's free for people to come and participate and learn techniques on how to do beach art. And this was, looked like coral a bit on the beach. And this is our next year. Just heard 3 weeks ago, Tony Plant is going to be our guest beach artist. He hails from Cornwall, England, and this is an image he did on the beach that he lives next to. So it's he uses this beach a lot, and that's him superimposed. Well, that him with a drone over him, taking a picture of another piece of beach art that he did in Cornwall. So we will have him in Bermuda, and I'm going to. The next image will come up. I guess I didn't practice enough. The next image is a poignant image, and it's a stenciling technique, and it's for the 9,000 fallen soldiers etched in sand on a Normandy beach, and it was to commemorate Peace Day last year, and it's very poignant because November 11th is coming up, and thank you.
Hi, I'm Maria. Nicky, do you plan your art, or do you just sort of like go with the flow?
I'm usually a person that goes with the flow, but I try to have some direction in the beginning.
Some sort of like idea?
In the beginning I do, but then I let it go if it feels like it needs to be let go. But I do in some ways have a plan, but then it might change. So it's a little bit of both.
I just have one more question. Do you see any correlation between the beach art and crop circles? I do, but...
Well, it's a form of art, and if you have a like you have in terms of, large, whatever, the grass, or they have wheat, it's a form of creating art, and it's creating big art. When you create big art, you usually use geometric forms when you see that. So in that way, big art usually involves geometric forms, I think, historically, when you've seen art from past ages.
Okay, I have a question. I'm in the back, way back here. When you're doing it, do you feel, when you go back and look at it, you go, oh, that perspective was wrong? Or it's just because you really don't have a plan, it just comes out right regardless?
Well, no. Sometimes I think I did things wrong. Yeah, I do. It wasn't precise enough, but when you take the picture, it also depends on what angle you take the picture of this, or where you go to look at your piece. Because if you look at your piece and the sun is behind you, you can't see it. Or if you go somewhere, the perspective is different. So it's how you see your piece too, what angle physically. Normally I don't think things are necessarily wrong, but I think they could be better executed. You can't. It's very quick. Oh, sometimes I make it like more precise, or shading the shade. Yeah, I go over it a bit because it's not dark. What happens is that the sun dries it up and you can't see it anymore, which is very frustrating. One year I went down and it was so windy, I spent hours doing it. I went up to take a picture, you couldn't see it anymore. The wind just ravishes it. So when you do beach art, don't go on a windy day.
I have one more question at the back here.
Hi, Nicky. It's Beth Ann. How are you?
Hi, good. Thanks. Hope.
How long does it take you, and how much time, or is it per scale, per time? How much time are you allowed?
Yeah, it depends how big the piece is. I think I usually spend 2 hours. That's enough time, and it can be aching on your back, too, believe it or not. 2 hours is enough, I think, to do a piece. And also, the issue is that the time is high tide. It's between high tide, so you've got to do it quickly. It's going to go away soon.
Thank you very much, Nicky.